Good morning, you beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle. We talk all things life, love, spirituality, law of attraction, and all of that juicy goodness. I'm an intuitive reader, a manifesting coach, a Reiki practitioner, and a life path guide and mentor here to help you along your awakening journey so that you can co-create the life of your dreams. And speaking of co-creating, tomorrow I am super pumped. We are here for our midweek reading, by the way. I do a weekly reading. If you're new to my channel, subscribe, connect your energy to mine. But I do a weekly reading usually on Sundays or, Saturdays or Sundays. And then I usually do a midweek reading on Wednesdays or Thursdays. And tomorrow, I just spent this morning kind of like journaling and planning out what I'm going to teach tomorrow. So I got asked, the universe keeps slowly bringing me more opportunities to speak. And it happens to always be schools. So I don't know if the universe is like, oh, Michelle's comfortable with schools because I used to be a teacher. But I have a big fear of public speaking. So it's like the universe is pulling me out of my shell and it keeps having somebody message me, DM me, hey, Michelle, we're looking for a mindfulness workshop or a meditation workshop or a journaling workshop. And the minute I get the DM, I feel immense fear. And then I settle myself down and I say, no, Michelle, this is a breadcrumb. This is the universe guiding you to what is really going to make you the happiest. And when you feel the fear, that's how you know you're meant to do it. Okay. So if you are on your spiritual path, and because I do life path guide work and I mentor people, I teach them that when that call comes in and you feel that, like, oh, I can't do it, that's what you really have to do. And when you say no to it, which I did that last year, one of my great clients and friends, her name's Teresa, she also lost her son, and her and I connect. For those of you that are new to my channel, I lost my daughter in 2012, and her and I connected over our losses, and I was mentoring her because she wants to create something beautiful for the world. She wants to create like a wellness center for all healers to go and to work at, to share their gifts, whether it's virtual, whether it's an app, whether it's a building. But she was in the process of doing that, and she was having a ceremony for her son's passing, and there was going to be like 60 or 70 people there. And I initially declined to speak. She wanted me to speak and like offer love and compassion and just kind of like flow. And I immediately was like, felt the fear and I let it control me. And I said no. And I told her I would come and do readings instead. I was like, I'll still come, I'll do readings. And it was so weird when on my drive there, my car broke down. So I didn't even get to do it. So a little piece of me was like, I think because maybe I resisted speaking, I wasn't supposed to go do the readings. I was supposed to go speak. And because the universe, I think the universe stopped me and gave me all of this trouble because I was not following my path. So that's what happens when you resist, when you're not following your truth, when you're not taking the breadcrumb and going in the right direction. The universe will cause a lot of dissonance. It'll make things break down. I felt dissonance in my body after I said no to her. So we just have to always be willing to step through that fear. And this call that I got for tomorrow, it's an amazing girl. I've never met her. I've done readings for her all the time. And she found me on Instagram, I think, and she's a teacher, and she asked me to come to her school. And I was like, yes. I was like, I'll do it. I'm like, I have a big fear of speaking, but I'm going to do it. But I don't want this to hold up our whole reading. But I just want to let you know that, like, I am super pumped that all of these readings, speaking to all of you every single week, has prepared me and made me stronger to do the thing that I think I'm really meant to do, which is, be out in the world and be one-on-one with people or be in groups and like sharing more of my voice. And I found I'll share it later in the reading, I found the root of why I fear speaking so much. So we'll talk about that later, but I'm super excited for tomorrow. I just got done journaling what I'm going to teach them. I'm going to teach them how to manifest. I'm going to teach them about journaling and how, your thoughts are creating your reality, which is everything that I teach on my channel. So I'm super pumped. I also got a brand new deck. Another client friend of mine, her name's Teresa. She's so sweet. She sent me a chakra flag. It's like a yoga mat, but I actually hung it up in my bedroom. It looks really cute. And then she sent me these. It's a little jar of affirmations. They're 30 positive quotes, and I used them in my shorts the other day. So you guys probably saw me picking out the black hearts, which this one says, mediocrity is never okay. Yep. So the mediocrity would be me or you not doing the thing the universe is pulling you to do. It keeps you at like this, it keeps you in your comfort zone, and that's dissonance. You're not going to feel good in your body. You're going to feel tight. You're going to feel restricted, and it's going to be painful. So when you stay, like I said no to the other Teresa, I had all that breakdown. I actually was going to the event to do readings, and my Jeep broke down. So that was a clear sign that the universe was saying, this is what happens when you don't do what I'm guiding you to do. You're out of alignment. Okay. So my friend Teresa gave me these wonderful new gifts. So we're going to use them in our reading today. Let's open sacred space. So anytime I open up a reading speaking about something that's going on in my life, that's usually alignment for the collective. So always remember that. Like if I go on a tangent and you're like, Michelle, stop talking, get to the cards already. There's always a message in that. And it always is always relevant. It always comes out later in the card. So please always think about how that could apply to your life. Where are you saying no to something that the universe is trying to get you to go somewhere that is for your highest good? It's going to expand you. It's going to make you better. And your fear is blocking you. And you have to make fear your friend and say, it's okay. I have to follow this uncomfortable feeling because on the other side of it, that's where my greatest joy is. And I know after tomorrow at 9 a.m. tomorrow, when I'm done my talk, I'm going to feel on top of the world because I overcame that uncomfortable feeling and I was of service and I got out of my own way and I was there to remind everybody there who they really are. So let's call on our guides. Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, please open sacred space. Please only allow the highest and whitest light messages to come through. Bless me, bless my cards, bless my viewers. Let's see what we hear today. So first message is follow your fear. The universe will always bring you your next steps. And a lot of times we get worried that the next steps are not going to come. The first card that I see on top, and I'm going to take a couple of these cards because they just look so beautiful. This one is a horse and it says, I radiate confidence and positivity. And this one says 17, growing. So our first two messages, and on the back of this card, it says, you are your thoughts. Always choose to speak and think nicely about yourself and the results will show quickly. Interesting. I actually disagree with this card. I always say we're not our thoughts. Our thoughts are not, they're just creations of our mind. We're not our thoughts, but our thoughts are powerful. So I do believe in this card. But yeah, I would never, yeah, sorry. That's just my opinion. Sorry, author. Always choose to speak and think nicely about yourself and the results will show quickly. So being positive, speaking kindly to yourself about yourself, and then growing. So when we are moving through those fearful moments and you're like, I gotta say yes to this, I have to do this, I feel it in my bones, but I don't know how, and I'm so scared. That's where the growth is really at. Like when you avoid that, that's where depression comes in. Depression is basically you being tired of playing out this character that's not you. Your pattern is tired. You're exhausted because you're trying to be somebody that you're not, but you're not aware of it. And we all go through that. That's what an ego death is we've been living in ego, forcing and trying to be somebody who we think we need to be loved. And then when that falls away, it's like, wait, who am I now? I don't know how to be. I don't know how to act. And when we grow and when we expand and we sprout out like this beautiful rose, we are new, right? We have these new petals and we're like, I don't know what it feels like to be in my body. I don't know how to live life now if I don't have that same conditioning of why I'm doing what I'm doing. I hope that makes sense. And the growth, I just heard the growth comes from the awareness of whether you're playing out a victim mindset. So when you come out of victimhood, you're actually growing. You're seeing that, man, I was living in this pattern or in this ego mindset of, woe is me, this happened to me when I was a kid. You know, like about a couple years ago, I would always use my loss as an excuse of for maybe why I was behind in the world. I always feel like I'm behind because I feel like I got a late start, which I did. That's like actual facts. I spent like the first 8 years post loss in like a dark cloud while everyone else was expanding and growing and building families and making memories. I was like cocooned up in my house not doing anything, but I was also learning a lot. I was reading a lot of self-growth books, but I wasn't applying anything. But I was like in the dirt. So when this rose is being planted, we plant the seeds in the dirt, right? So those moments where you guys are maybe feeling like you're stuck or feeling like time is wasted, you're just being planted in the dirt, and that's not death. It might feel like death. Like I felt like it was death for me post loss. And I used that a lot to feed my ego, to get attention from other people. And I would say, oh, this happened to me. And, you know, or I would be the opposite. I would be like, nope, I'm good. Everything's great. And I'd like pretend like I was this really strong girl who got over it. But I was just not conscious of it and not feeling the feelings. I was just powering through the day, not wanting the attention. But then some days I would want the attention. But I can see now, looking back, all the different ways that I created a program to work with the grief because it was so overwhelming. You know, if I actually would have felt the feelings and been in my body when I had that experience, it would have it could have killed me, you know? And any parent who goes through the loss of a child, it is debilitating some days, most days in the beginning. And then actually it was like year 3 and 4 post loss were my worst years. That's when I had suicidal thoughts. I just was like, am I supposed to live with this pain forever? Because it was like 3 years later and I'm like, wait, why is it getting worse? I don't understand this. And it was because I was finally like settling in what really had happened to me. Because again, it was like I wasn't in my body when the experience happened. But through that time, it's like I was in the dirt. So you were in the dirt when you went through something difficult and you were coming out of it, you were being planted. It wasn't time to bloom yet. And through that planting phase, there's a lot of victimhood. There's a lot of blaming. There's a lot of resentment. There's a lot of anger at the universe. You know, say you lost your spouse, or say you go through a divorce, or you have a financial loss, or you have abuse when you were a kid. There's a phase where you go through this time of your mind is creating this story that because this happened to me, I can't do this. And that's what I want to help you guys all see today, is that you can. We don't have to stay in that victimhood. And the way you know that you're in your victimhood is when you attract other people who are also complaining about their life. So if you're around a lot of people right now that keep complaining about how bad their life is, I don't want to say this, but it might be because you have that in you. And the universe is bringing you somebody in front of you complaining because they are a mirror. And they're trying to show you that you're still showing up in your body, thinking that that thing that happened to you, and it really happened for you. And I know everybody has a different story and they're at a different phase of the journey, and where they are in their pain and in their suffering is going to determine how they respond to a video like this. But it is possible. You can go from the victim to the victor. And my friend Ben said that recently. He was like, Michelle, you should share your story about how you went from being a victim of abuse and of your loss and stuff, and how you played it out, which I did. I would have conversations with people looking to feed that validation that, look what happened to me, and I want you to feel sorry for me. And now I can see it so clearly, and I'm like, oh, ick. I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. I can see where I did that, but that was like a coping mechanism. That's when I was being planted. I was in the darkness, and I needed that at that time. I needed that love and support. Otherwise, it would have killed me if I didn't get support from other people. And so at some point, we have to grow, and we have to grow out of that victimhood, and we have to see it, and we have to see that we are this beautiful divine feminine or divine masculine, and we have this beautiful nectar in here that the world needs. And that nectar cannot be brown and icky and smell bad. It has to be juicy and good and vibrant and colorful, which is the energy of, I am so grateful that this thing happened to me because look who I became. Look how beautiful I am after that experience. And this rose holds no victimhood. It is not sad. It's not drooping. It's not saying poor me. It is shining bright, saying, I rose through the darkness. Get it? Rose. That was a good play on words there. Thank you, Spirit. So we're going to shuffle the new deck. I rose through the darkness. Victim to victor. I love that. So it is possible. I am proof you guys can do it. You can step out of anything that you've been through and look at how your ego is playing into that story. Look at how it's keeping you small, because when you're that rose and you're drooped over and you're like, oh, like this happened to me. I just think of a flower that's just not bright and standing tall. I want you all to stand tall. Your soul wants you to stand tall because you essentially, the spiritual teachers, the message that I'm getting right now is that we all choose our experiences. You know, I came into this body asking to learn forgiveness. So I had to attract a situation that needed forgiving, which was abuse as a kid. I had to learn how to forgive it. And a lot of people are not going to respond to this message well. Their wounding, their victimhood is going to rage at me and say, I don't have to forgive my abuser. And you can have your opinion, take what resonates, but I am choosing to live my life in love and in compassion. And I'm not going to stay in my victimhood, and I'm not going to stay in my suffering. And I'm going to be grateful that experience, because guess what that experience taught me? And guess what it taught you? It taught you to never lay a hand on anybody. It taught you to have compassion for people. It taught you to show up in conversations as if everybody is hurting. It made you more aware of children and the things that people do to children in this world. So now you're going to be a protector of children. You're going to raise your own children better. You're going to be changing the world because now your children are going to grow up and make an impact and show the world that, hey, I grew up in an environment that was loving and with unconditional love, which is very rare in our world, which is really sad, but it is. So let's see what card we got. I am strong and resilient. Think of a situation where you showed strength. How did you feel? How did you recover? Acknowledge that every situation you surpass only makes you stronger and more resilient. How perfect is this? So again, that's why are we grateful for tough situations? Because they make us stronger. It's really why we came here. We came here to experience that because we wanted to see our strength. We wanted to see what our souls are made of in this lifetime and what we came to learn. We all have these core wounds that we are healing in this lifetime too. I know for me and a lot of people, it's abandonment, and a lot of divine feminines who are this rose. We have a deep fear of abandonment. And believe it or not, this comes from the fall of Atlantis. If you guys are familiar with Atlantis, the fall of Atlantis, apparently there was a time where all the divine masculines were taken to go be of service in war. And they felt immense guilt for leaving their feminine behind. And they also had karmic relationships during that time. So the divine feminine was abandoned, and then she was betrayed during Atlantis. And that literally, they say it kind of like tore a hole into our souls. And that's why the abandonment wound is so, so deep. And the masculines feel immense guilt for doing that. So sometimes when we incarnate in this lifetime and other lifetimes, we are here to repair that tear. And the masculine has to take a stand and stop with the karmic relationships and not hold the guilt from the past, to repair the soul, to come back together. I was listening to a video the other day, and they were talking about how the divine masculine and the divine feminine, it's like the two sides to the coin, right? Like God didn't create a coin with one side. Everybody has a match. And whether they're incarnated in this lifetime or not, we don't know. And maybe they both don't incarnate. Maybe both, sometimes they choose to stay in the spirit world to guide their soul family in a lifetime. But in this lifetime, we are healing divine feminines. We're healing this deep abandonment wound. So if you're dealing with a relationship where you feel immense pain around somebody leaving you, or maybe choosing somebody else, that might have to do with Atlantis. And it goes way deeper than this lifetime, and maybe your parents abandoning you. It's way, way deeper. And give yourself grace, because you didn't have control of that, but you are here, right? You're here right now to learn this and to heal it. And you will get to a space. I am definitely somebody who 5 years ago, I was that weak girl who thought she needed a man and thought she needed somebody to save her. And now it's wild. I'm in a totally different space. I don't need it. Like, I'm perfectly fine on my own. Of course, I want a partner, but I am nowhere near in that same mindset. And when you make that shift, and believe me, I've done many sessions with my mentor asking her to clear me. I was like, I don't want the need anymore. Like, take the need out of me, remove it from my subconscious. Which is not always possible, because if it's the other side to my coin, they're always going to be there. But how can I heal and close that wound so I can sense that even in like the 5D, I'm always with him, and we're always together, and we're whole, and we're happy. And I have come to that space. I feel like I'm back in my body. I feel whole and happy. And that's where you guys can get to. If you're watching this channel and you're yearning for a partner, they're not going to come in until you feel that connection to both sides of the coin, which is you balancing your masculine energy and your feminine energy, which is you getting on your mission, doing what you came here to do. If I were to keep resisting these talks that I keep being called to do, I would never connect with my divine masculine, because I'm out of alignment and my side of the coin is not there. I am not in my body. So I have to say yes and move through that fear and do the thing, not for the purpose of being together with somebody, but because it's what I came here to do. And also, when we heal those traumas, which I believe revising your past is a great way to heal your trauma. So you go in a meditation and you go back to the time of the event, of the pain and the suffering, and you write a new story. Maybe you had parents that neglected you. You're going to lay in a meditation and imagine your parents tucking you in every single night, going over your homework with you, making you yummy meals, because time doesn't exist. So if you can go back in time, but the present time, and you can rewrite your past, you become a different person now. Who are you we're going to take that card. Who are you as the person who received the unconditional love, who was tucked into bed every single night, and who was made yummy meals, and somebody took care of you when you were sick? You're now this whole being that is this teacher and this guide for everybody else to say, actually, I'm going to get one more card, to say, this is what happens when you receive love in childhood. So revising your past is what will close that wound. It'll help close the abandonment wound if it's not from a past life. And it'll also help close, we got 3 cards. It'll help close the conditional love. You'll finally understand what it feels like to be unconditionally loved, where somebody is consistently taking care of you as a caretaker, your parents. So we have 3 cards here. The first one that came out was the 6 of Wands, which is a success card. This is victory. This is somebody being seen. You're in the spotlight. You're being recognized for your efforts. It says victory, wise choices that bring public recognition and success, promotions, awards, and scholarships. So if you've been waiting for a new job, if you've been waiting for a promotion, more money, more opportunities to be seen, that's this card. Then we have the Queen of Wands, or Queen of Swords. Brilliant, experienced, humorous, judgmental, releasing situations or people that no longer serve you. Seeing the humor in difficult situations, focusing on career, divorced, or unmarried individuals. So this is normally like a single queen. She's kind of cutthroat and she's after her mission, and she will cut through anything that stops her from doing her mission. But this card, in other cards or other decks, She can be very cold and very biting with her words, but this queen, look at everything around her. She's in a garden, it's soft, there's a butterfly on her sword, which means she's not going to hurt. She's not going to use the sword to cause pain. She's just using it for protection. She's setting boundaries with it, I'm hearing. Where the other queen of swords in other decks is kind of like she'll come at you and she'll protect herself in that way. But this is kind of like this queen is just sitting there saying, you can come my way, but if I don't like something, I'm going to let you know, and I'm going to set a boundary. And that's what she's using her sword for. And the butterfly is there as guidance too. Cool story. I went for a healing session 2 days ago, and this healer was fantastic. I got into her room and I was on the table and on the massage table, and she put crystals around my body and she was holding onto my legs, and she just literally started telling me everything about my childhood. Within 5 minutes, she spoke so fast, so clear, and she was saying things that like I didn't understand, but I did. I don't know how to like word that better, but she was reminding me of why I have a fear of speaking. And it was because of the abuse in my childhood. When I spoke the truth, I got in trouble. I got in physical trouble. And so now my fear, my left side keeps itching too. My left back. I'll ask spirit what that means in a second. Left side is feminine energy, and I just heard breathing. I don't know what it has to do with this. They just said finish. No, I already finished reading. But anyway, so my fear of speaking is when I was younger, I would speak my truth and then I would get in trouble and get hurt. So now my fear of, teaching and speaking to groups, my body viscerally remembers the pain. So now I don't want to do it because I remember like what happens to me when I speak the truth and I teach. So that was uncovered 2 days ago on her massage table. I was like, how does this lady know this? Oh my gosh. She literally was telling me my childhood. She's like, and then you shut down at like 8 years old and you would hide, which is so true. I would like go in my bedroom and I would hide from my family. And my mom would always come into my room and be like, what are you doing? Why are you alone? She always thought I was like up to something. And I was like, no, I'm just escaping everybody else. But this is a speaking card. This is a queen that knows that she can speak her truth. She can set boundaries. She can stand up for herself. And if there is somebody, I just heard, if somebody out there, if any of you guys have trauma where you were abused as a kid, you have the right to go and speak your truth to that person. But we have to be wise with that approach. We have to make sure that, and that's what this card is. It's like a wise approach. She's brilliant, experienced, humorous. She can make a joke. And she can make light of situations. But if you're going to go back and say something, you want to say it in a way like, hey, so-and-so, what you did really hurt me, but I can see why you did it. I can see that your conditioning is what was hurting me and it wasn't your soul. And whether you can say that to the person or not, I'm not sure, but you word it the way you want to word it, but you can go and speak your truth and finally stand up for your little self that was hurt and say to the person, like, I understand why you did it, but it still hurt me. And I need you to know that that's why I've held a grudge against you my whole life. And that's why we don't have a relationship. And it's not okay, but I forgive you because I understand that you weren't in your body when you were doing it and you didn't know any better. Maybe your parents did it to you. And if you don't want to say this to the person because you know that they won't receive it, you can write a letter to them saying all this. But we have to get it out of our system. We have to be in this lifetime and know that we can stand up for ourselves. We are not going to be victims and let somebody walk all over us for the rest of our lives. We are going to stand in our truth, stand in our power. We're going to find our strength, and we're going to thank that situation. Last night, I got out of the shower and I was just standing in the mirror looking at myself, and I put my hand on my heart and I just was like, I said these 3 phrases. I think it was, I set them free, I thank them, I love them. I set them free, I thank them, I love them. And I just kept saying it. I was like a robot. I don't know how it happened. I was like channeling it or something, but it was just like, I set them free, I thank them, I love them. I set them free, I thank them, I love them. I set them free, I thank them, I love them. And it flowed so well out of my mouth. And I want to invite all of you guys to take on that mantra. I set them free. I thank them. I love them. I set them free. I thank them. I love them. And I see that as this card. She's cutting the cord. She's setting all, like, if you could think about this woman, imagine if she had all these strings, right, coming out of her body of all the people that hurt her, and she has a string attached to each person. She's taking this sword and she's going, I set them free. I thank them. I love them. I set them free. I thank them. I love them. And she's understanding that each string, wow, look at this card. Sorry. It's like he has all these knives in his back. There's like betrayal in this card. So we're setting ourselves free from the victimhood of what happened to us. I set them free. I thank them. I love them. So you are releasing the pull. Like if you think about it, all those people that siphoned your energy, that diminished you, that shrunk you, that crushed your spirit, you are cutting that cord. You are the Queen of Swords and you're cutting it and you're saying, I set them free. I thank them. I love them. I'm no longer taking this with me. I am free from that experience. I'm revising my past. And I am now in a body that didn't have that experience. I am now whole, but I have the lesson from it. Do you see how revising your past can do that? Like you can go into your past and rewire and say, okay, I had great parents. I had great, situations at school. Nobody bullied me. And you can see it differently, cut the person off, set them free, thank them and love them because they did give you something. They gave you something to teach with. They gave you an opportunity to love more deeply in this lifetime. That's my greatest success from my abuse is I became the most amazing aunt to my 11 nieces and nephews. I look them in the eyes when they're talking. I give them space to just express their emotions. They call me when they're sad. My dad passed away 2 years ago, and they feel comfortable to call me and to say, Shushi, I'm really sad. Can you come pick me up and can we go for a drive and get some food? And I drop whatever I'm doing to do that for them because I know that I didn't have that as a kid and I am able to show up. So where in your life are you able to take the lesson from the pain, cut the cord, don't attach to the pain anymore, release the victimhood, but then how are you using that? How are you taking that lesson and then going and being different to drop that pebble in the pond to then make a bigger impact in the world with the lesson? And it doesn't always mean you have to share it on social media. You know what I mean? Like you can do it in so many different ways. You can do it silently by just being kind to people who maybe are going through that. Maybe you go and volunteer your time at a homeless shelter. Maybe you go to a church and you do like a prayer group with somebody. There's so many different ways that you guys can take your pain, cut the cord, take the lesson and go use it and use it for good. Because I'm telling you, our souls, we really feel the best when we're in alignment doing what we came here to do. And a lot of people come to my channel and they're kind of in that like unknown phase of, I know I'm not supposed to do this 9 to 5, but I don't know what's next. A lot of times your experiences in the past are what fuel what's next. Just like I'm here sharing this with all of you. I feel like my throat's starting to get froggy. I'm sharing this with all of you. And I wouldn't have a story to share if I didn't go through all that. You know what I mean? And maybe you guys wouldn't come to my channel because you'd be like, oh, this chick didn't go through anything hard in her life. She's just here delivering messages. Like, I think my stories and my experiences are maybe what called you guys in. I don't know. But I'm proud of myself for sharing them and not staying in the victimhood of, oh, my daughter died and oh, my dad died and oh, I had childhood abuse, and I can label all these things, but I like to word it as this was in my past. It's not who I am. It did not happen to me. This was in my past. It happened for me. I got a lesson from it. I set them free. I thank them. I love them. And now I do something with it. Okay, so let me read this card to you. An unwise choice. There's a better way that will make you happier. Avoid people who lack integrity or who have questionable motives. So there's somebody like a sneaky energy who's not down for you. They're doing something behind your back. So just be very, very mindful. And I just heard that when you're out of alignment and you're not in your own integrity, you'll feel it in your body. You know, when I said no to that offer, I felt it viscerally. It was like, Michelle, you should be doing this. So, you know, when you're grabbing food, when you're grabbing alcohol, when you're grabbing that thing that you know that you shouldn't be doing, you feel it viscerally. And if you don't, the universe is going to start making everybody feel that this year in 2024, because it's the year of, it's number 8 year, the infinity sign. So we are going to be cutting the cord on all of those loops, the karmic loops, the patterns, the addictions, the toxic relationships, you know, being interested in unavailable people. That all has to stop. You have to value yourself and get out of those situations that is not serving your soul. And if you're sick and you have a lot of ailments, don't just blame it on ascension symptoms. You might be out of alignment and not acting in integrity in your life. Okay, first message from Micah Magic, the deck that I created in memory of my daughter. Oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you guys. Guess what? So I'll tell you what the card is real fast if you're dying to know. Be ready to receive. I always used to not like when readers would pull cards and like leave it on the table and not tell you what the card is. Yes, Mike is saying money is coming. I got this card last night with a client. We did like a nighttime reading together on Zoom. She's from Louisiana. High five, girl, if you're watching. She got both of those cards, 777 and be ready to receive. So somebody's coming into money this week. But guess what happened when I was at that healing session? The lady, her name's Heather. She's amazing. She was like, I didn't tell her anything. I literally laid on her table and she told me everything about my life and my childhood, spot on. The amount of siblings I had. She said that my grandmother was in the room, which she just passed in October. And then she goes, you have a daughter. And she knew that I had a daughter. And she goes, how old was she when she passed? And I was like 6 weeks old. She goes, she's your teammate. She goes, she wants me to tell you that she's working with you from the other side. You guys, how many times have I intuitively felt that like Micah's my teammate, like she's my mission person. Like she goes and sends all of my clients hearts. Hearts are like very memorable for me with her. Anytime I see a heart, I know that's her speaking to me. But nobody's ever told me that. I just felt it. And now here I have a psychic medium the other day telling me that Micah told her that we are teammates in this lifetime. And guess what? Guess what she did? She also told me that there was a little boy with Micah. She goes, are you sure you didn't have 2 kids? And I was like, no. I was like, I never had a miscarriage or anything like that. And she goes, well, there's a little boy with her. He might be coming in. So I was like, oh my gosh, I might have a son. But she said he could also just be a little guardian angel that's with her. But there was a little boy and Micah. So last night I was thinking of boy names if I were to ever have a little boy. But what was I going to say? There was something else I was going to say. Oh, okay. So Micah told her that Micah left because if Micah didn't leave, I would have abused her the same way that I was abused in my childhood. So she saved me from being a monster. She left so that I would wake up from that abrupt pain and see the reality of life and see the reality of I just felt unconditional love with Micah and then I lost her. So now I know what that feels like, where before my childhood, I never felt unconditional love. So Micah taught me unconditional love. She woke me up. I then became a better aunt and started to love my nieces and nephews differently. And I wasn't repeating the cycle in my family line of abuse and verbal abuse, emotional abuse. Every part of abuse was in my family line on both sides of the family. Neglect, suicidal thoughts, it all has been passed down and I am the change. So Micah told this healer that her and I are the wrench in the wheel. We came to stop this in my family line. And I am here to share with all of you that if you're attracted to me, we are the same. I can't tell you how many times people book a reading with me or book a coaching call and they're like, Michelle, we're so much alike. I feel like we're best friends. You say things and I literally was thinking it that day. That's because we're connected. We're all from the same source. But I believe that certain groups of us are from the same tree. And I believe that people can be on different trees and they cannot be connected to us. But you guys are on my tree. So if Micah and I came to make change in the world and to stop the abuse and to bring light to it and to tell other people you don't play the victim after it happens, because we are here to stop it. If we stay in the victimhood, we are feeding it and we're saying it's okay. And we're not saying it's okay, but we're not doing anything to help motivate people to find a way to stop it, if that makes sense. Like kind of like when you're that droopy flower, it feels powerless, you know? And it's funny because this flower down here is the droopy one. It's almost like bent over and it needs water, it needs nutrients, but it doesn't realize that its own self-talk, its own nectar is what's going to fuel it, which represents this card. Oh, I shuffled it back in, the horse card that we got, which was all about your thoughts, speaking kindly to yourself. So when you're in victimhood and you're only feeling sorry for yourself about your past and you can't get out of it and you're just always complaining about this happened to me, and like if I was always like, yeah, I lost my daughter, I just don't want to live anymore, life is just, I don't know what the point is, and maybe I'm just staying in that space all the time, that is not doing what I'm not doing what I came here to do. And we are here to break the pattern of the abuse. And in order to break the pattern, we have to, one, become aware of it. We have to not repeat it, right? And then we have to see the light in it. We have to see, like, how can we shed light to help others stop? How can we word it to wake other people up to say, hey, don't do that. Don't hit your kid. Don't talk to your kid that way. Or here, go to a healer and regulate your own nervous system. Understand why you're doing it. And then forgive yourself if you've done it. If you're watching this channel right now and you feel like you've been not so great to your kids, it's okay. You can stop now and be better. It's worse to just continue it and to ignore it. Okay. And I wasn't always great to, little kids that I babysat, and maybe I diminished them in some way. I don't know, but like, I'm sure I played out a pattern because that's what was done to me too. So I have to forgive that part of me because it was just the abuse acting through me. I don't even know how I got on this topic. Oh, with Micah. And I just looked at her photo. So how cool is it that that psychic medium confirmed what I've been feeling for almost 12 years now. Micah would be 12 in July. And I've always felt like we were a team. And she confirmed that she left to wake me up so that I would not do it to her. And the psychic said that, Heather said that Micah would have been so beautiful that I would have been just so jealous of her. And she had a strong masculine energy about her. She was like a take charge type of soul. So I thought that was really cool because I always wondered what she would have looked like and what type of energy she would have had. But Heather was like, Michelle, she's like, you felt guilty for your first 8 years post loss. And I was like, yes. I was like, I thought I did something to her to cause her to have the muscle disorder. I was like, my mind was creating all these stories. So she set me free in that session. So if you guys get an opportunity, if somebody comes to you and says, hey, you should go see this healer, or you should go get this session done, say yes, because you don't know if it's the universe bringing you to somebody who's going to set you free. This woman set me free 2 days ago, and I've done a lot of work and I'm still not perfect and I'm still learning and growing, but she literally confirmed something I've been thinking about for almost 12 years. And it was the best feeling in the world. She confirmed why I fear public speaking. And she said, she goes, I want to see you again in 4 weeks. And this woman has a 7-month wait list. So I'm excited. I feel honored that she wants to see me again. And I feel like I want to be like her. Like I want to help people in that way, to help them see like, hey, you don't need to stay in that victimhood. And she even told me, she's like, knock it off. She's like, don't be in your victimhood. She's like, on your channel, you need to motivate and inspire people to love themselves so much that they are willing to do their mission and not stay in the sad story. And when you do that, this is what happens. You get admired. People want to learn from you. And I know all of you on my channel, you are all meant to be seen in some way. You are meant to share your story, not from a victim space, but from a victor space, okay? And isn't that interesting? We have the victory card. I feel called to keep going with Micah Magic because now I'm like so pumped that she confirmed. Didn't one just jump? That we're a team. Probably the best reading I've ever had. It was awesome. Okay, we have, it's an emotional time. Be gentle with yourself because somebody's walking away from something. Maybe the you are being admired online is a significant other looking at you. And they're saying, wow, like she's, or he or she is really amazing and they're everything I ever wanted. And how did I not see them all this time? Or maybe you just stumbled across them and you're like, oh my gosh, I resonate with them. And that can be abrupt if you're already in a partnership or you have to maybe move, or I don't know what it is. I feel like it's just a sense of someone walking away from something that they thought was something. I don't know if that makes sense, but you had this idea, you created the story about that your life was going to go in this direction, and then you meet one person and it changes the whole course of your life. And that might be an emotional time, so be gentle with yourself. Birds before land. You're going to get glimmers of this change that's coming for you through other people. So my client session last night, she was looking to quit her job and move. And this lady who she had contacted a while ago about real estate out in California, she's in Louisiana. And this woman texted her yesterday, the same day of our reading. And I told her, it's birds before land. This is the universe pulling you to California. It's saying like, hey, hold the line. This new home, this new job, this new life is on the way. And the universe is sending you this little birds before land to let you know like, hey, this is the right direction, but hold the line. Okay, we're going to do an animal card. Well, hello. Horse and chameleon. Soul tribe. It is safe to be seen. That's the victory card. You are being called to be seen. Don't be the chameleon anymore. Show off your color. Do not blend in. And then the horse spirit says, give yourself the space and freedom to express your creativity. So I know first, a lot of my clients, they have to kind of get out of their head and drop into their heart before they can create anything. So say you want to create a deck of cards, say you want to create a YouTube channel, you want to write a book, you want to create journals, or maybe you're just wanting to paint for fun. A lot of times we lose our creativity, which is in the sacral, your womb space, and that's for men too. Even though you don't have a womb, there's still that energy down there. That's your creative center. So normally if you carry a lot of weight in your belly, there could be a lack of creativity in your life. There could be a lack of joy. You're not tapping into that energy. And what we need to do is we need to be like the horse and we need to go play. We need to go like kind of frolic around in nature and drop out of the mind and down into the heart. That could be maybe going and playing tennis, maybe getting your kids and going to the park and playing on the swings, shooting hoops, maybe go to the park and do sprints or go to the gym, and you're just getting out of the head, dropping down into the heart. And then when you're there, when you're in this space, this is your high heart, your joy center. This is where you can just be free to say, wow, now I've opened up this channel. I've gotten out of the head. The head can be like a barking dog. Your mind can just start saying, well, I got to do this and I got to do that. When you go play, you're in your heart now and everything feels light and everything feels fun. And then the energy goes even further down into your sacral energy and the creativity can be birthed. The other night I grabbed Canva. I hopped on Canva and I was just literally watching a YouTube video. I don't watch TV. I use my TV for YouTube. So every night it's my favorite thing. I'll get my heated blanket in the winter and I cozy up and I put on my favorite YouTube people and I listen and I take notes. And then sometimes I get inspired to grab my computer and I'll create content or I'll create things. And I just started creating these cute spirit animal posts to make on Instagram and to make for my community page. And I was like, man, I should create my own animal deck. And I had this idea. So I was just like, I'm just going to keep flowing with this. So when I was doing something that I loved, when I dropped into my heart and I just was all cozy on the couch with a yummy drink and my heated blanket, I just felt this urge to grab my computer and create. And that's what happens. So if you're on this journey and you don't know what your next steps are, you have to go and do something that feels good so you can drop out of the head that's trying to figure it out and drop into the heart where there's fun and there's joy and there's this sense of calm. It's like your whole nervous system can relax. And that's when the energy drops all the way down into that sacral space. And it's like this flower blooms and the creativity comes out of you. Okay. And that's where the chameleon kind of falls away and you feel safe. You feel safe to be seen. And honestly, to comfort all of you with this talk that I'm going to do tomorrow, if you would have asked me to do it last year, I would have said no because I wasn't ready. So if you don't feel safe to be seen just yet, it's okay. Your soul has a plan for you. You might have to go through certain ascension symptoms. You might have to go through the ascension process to purify your chakra system so that you can be seen. I had immense fear, anxiety, because I didn't understand why I was so scared of speaking and being seen. But now that I know the root, I can navigate my fear a heck of a lot better because now I know why it happened, and I can hold myself and give myself comfort and nurture her and say, it's okay, Michelle, you're not going to get hurt if you speak your truth. You're not going to get verbally abused. People aren't going to come at you. And if they do, it's okay. I'm a big girl now and I can handle it. So now that I have the awareness around that, I feel safe to be seen. So if you don't feel safe yet and you still want to hide, I'm not going to push you and say you have to go be seen. The universe is not going to push you. And I'm speaking as the universe right now to you. The universe is saying, if you're not ready, you're not ready. If you try and force something when you're not ready, it'll be dissonance after dissonance after dissonance. You'll feel so uncomfortable, you'll get sick. Some people even start to lose their hair. Your hair is an extension of your nervous system. So when you start to have issues with your hair, it's usually like your body saying like, hey, this environment is not good for us, or we need to go and do something that brings us joy because we're stuck in something that is not good. So that's a little message there for you guys, that if you are in any kind of fear of being seen, it's okay. I've been there and I wasn't ready and it wasn't time. But one day you will wake up, you will have the clarity. Someone will say, go see this healer. You'll have this cool connection. Maybe you'll be guided to come see me for a session on Zoom. And you'll have this wake up moment of, oh, that's why I've been blocking winning the lottery or getting that dream job or that partnership, because I have a fear of success or fear of being seen or fear of achieving something so big that I'm afraid I'm going to lose it. Okay, I just shuffled Abraham Hicks's deck. Number 39, the law of attraction responds to my vibration. Here's what it looks like. It says, a belief is nothing more than a chronic pattern of thought. And you have the ability, if you try even a little bit, to begin a new pattern, to tell a new story, to achieve a different vibration, and to change your point of attraction. The law of attraction is responding to your vibration, and you can easily change your vibrational point of attraction by visualizing the lifestyle you desire and holding your attention upon those images until you begin to feel relief, which will indicate that a true vibrational shift has occurred. So powerful. I like the purple, and I feel like it matches my headband too, right? Spirit, if you guys are new to my channel, Spirit always makes all the cards match what I'm wearing the day that I'm obviously pulling the cards. So the picture is kind of cool. Like, I've never really looked at much of Esther's or Abraham Hicks's photos on the card. It's like, why would they pick that? It's all these different eyes and little heads all over the place. It's almost like a sun, right? I could also see a lion energy there. But your vibration is what's most important. So if you are, booking a session with me, this is what happens normally. People come to me and they're like, I want to manifest, I want to get this thing, or why isn't this working? And then we talk about their fear. Are you fearing achieving that thing? Are you scared that you might lose it? Are you really wanting love, but maybe you're really rejecting love because maybe you've lost love before, or the abandonment wound, or the betrayal, maybe somebody cheated on you. And we get to the root of your beliefs, your vibration. So you can think a thought, but if your vibration doesn't match that thought, the universe won't bring it to you. It's kind of like a mixed message. So you have to really tap into, how do I feel about this thought? And a lot of times people have that dissonance, they have that separation. And then I bring them back together and say, you're saying you want this, but there's something inside of you that's blocking it. So for example, I was on a call recently with a girl, and she was trying to manifest money, but she had this belief that it can only come in a certain way. You know, if somebody in her family were to give it to her, she wouldn't accept it because she has discord with her family. And I told her, I said, we have to be willing to accept love, money, abundance from anywhere. If we're telling the universe, you can bring me money, but you just can't bring it from my family, that is complete mixed messages. You're not open. You're putting restrictions on how the universe can flow. And the universe is like a river. You don't want to put a restriction on that. You don't want to put a dam up because you won't get anything. So she had to surrender and say, I am okay. I am okay to receive money from my family, even if they hurt me. I can lower my pride. I can accept love from an unexpected source. So she realized that that was her blockage. She was putting a restriction on how it could come in. I'm not saying the money is going to come from a family member that she has discord with, but if she was having that belief that it can't come this way, then that's blocking all of it. We cannot have any kind of restrictions on how the universe wants to supply us and provide for us. So please look at your thought system, look at your vibration. Is it matching? Are they matching up? You know, are you really saying, she was saying, I'm open to abundance and I'm doing it, but deep down, she was putting a restriction on it. So you really have to get deep with that and ask yourself, if you're in separation, if your thoughts are not matching your vibration. And I just stumbled on my thoughts because I just heard money deck. So speaking of money, this will be our final message because I have no idea how long we've been going. My coffee is probably going to be all watered down, but it's okay. So worth it. Take me out to dinner. So money wants you to use it for a very good meal tonight. So I want all of you to get the most delicious dinner tonight. And when you're paying for your dinner, I want you to thank the universe for the money to pay for it. Okay? So universe, thank you so much for feeding my soul. This is going to invigorate me. It's going to make me feel good. I know more money will come. Could you please bring me this money back? I like to say that when I'm with my nieces and my nephews. The minute we buy something, like if we go to Chick-fil-A or something and I'm leaving the drive-thru, I always say it out loud so the kids hear me. And I say, universe, thank you so much for this yummy food. Can you please bring us this money back double? And then normally when we're out shopping, like a client will book a session with me and my Venmo will blow up and I get double back. And I show the kids, I'm like, look, it worked. When you do kind acts, I chase you. So be a good person and the more money will come. So the two messages for money, let's do one more, is take me out to dinner. Maybe when you're out to dinner, do a kind act for somebody, hold the door, tip somebody. You're going to get more money when you do that. Perfect one to end on. Expect a lot of me next week. I have a feeling next week is going to be a good week for a lot of people. And if you are watching this and you're watching in real time, next week will be January 11th. But if you're watching at a later date, time does not exist. So this, whatever next week is next, if you're watching this in August, in March, whatever next week is coming, you're going to be getting some money. Please come back and comment, even if it's like years later or months later. If money does come in, I always love to know. Okay, sorry, one more message from the Ever Unfolding Heart. This is another deck that I created in memory of my daughter. Now I feel like she had me create these decks because this is her way of bringing us messages. Do you know that your heart is a magnet? When it beats with joy and love, you are attracting everything you desire. You are full of magic. Your heart is your magic wand. Use it. So this is not a super fancy card. It's one of my beginning decks, not super detailed, but the messages are amazing. So your heart is your magic wand. When you are, remember I talked about earlier, when you're trying to figure out your life and you're too much up here, you have to go do something in your high heart joy center. You have to get yourself on the couch with a yummy blanket, or go for a walk, or go to the movies. Do whatever you love to do. And that's when the inspiration for the creativity or your next steps in life or the money, that's when it drops in. I always tell my clients, when you take a vacation and you rest and you nap, more money comes, more opportunities come. Okay. All right. I feel called to end it here. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. And remember, try to pull yourself out of that victimhood. You don't want to be the sad, droopy flower anymore. Yes, terrible things have happened for us and they taught us lessons, but we're going to be the Queen of Swords, and we're going to cut the cord, and we're going to say, I release them, I thank them, I love them. And now we're going to get out into the world and we're going to use that lesson to break the cycle. Like Micah and I, we're being the change. We are teaching and educating people that trauma happens, but it's not okay to continue. And we need to be the ones that stop it and to shed light on it and to make other people aware of why those people, the abusers, did it, find forgiveness for them, but make sure it stops in your specific family. So be the change. Go from the victim to the victor, and you will have victory. All right, lovies, I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you in our weekly energy reading. All right, peace out.